I got a question. Serious as cancer. Alright, it's not that serious. This is the question. Who is your Pookie-Dookie? You might not understand that question, but I'm going to be explaining it on this video today. It's tied into a related question that is not at all the same question. Who is in your top 5? We're going to be talking about my top 5 MCs. But we're not talking about my GOAT. I'm asking a better question. I'm answering a more interesting question. I'm not telling you who I think is my GOAT. I'm telling you who I think are the top 5 Pookie-Dookie MCs of all time. And this is an important thing to understand. A GOAT is not a Pookie-Dookie. That's a silly sentence. In August 2022, so I guess, 4 years ago? 3 years ago? Time doesn't matter. I released a video of my top 5 MCs. And I tried to balance my personal opinion with scholarly cultural appreciation. I tried to balance the head and the heart, which is what most people do when they release their top 5 MCs. All right? And maybe that's not the way to do it. All right? Maybe it is. I'm not saying that GOAT debates are bad and they're lame. I agree with Justin Hunt. Why not? They're fun. It's a fun thing to debate. But let's move on past the GOAT. All right. Now, the funny thing was, I looked up just for fun. I was like, well, what did I say? I was wondering if even my GOAT estimation has changed in the past 3 years. So I searched on Google for Professor Skye top 5 MCs, and against my own free will, the first thing they showed me was a ChatGPT response. So just for fun, let's look at this. This has nothing to do with anything. There's no part of this that is accurate or has ever been accurate at all. Professor Skye, a French professor, that's true, and reviewer on Twitter. Man, I basically never go on Twitter, but that's okay. Has a top 5 of lists that include Kendrick Lamar. Okay, he was on there, I guess. J. Cole, nowhere near that list. And Eminem. Thanks. Thanks, she. She also includes Denzel Curry and Joey Badass. At that point, I'd never even heard a single Joey Badass. In addition to these, other notable MCs mentioned in the context of a top list include Nas, Tupac Shakur, and Schoolboy Q. Now, that was about 2 years before I would ever hear Schoolboy Q. So anyways, don't listen to ChatGPT. I did look up the actual list, and it was a good list. It was a good list for a GOAT list. And again, a GOAT list, the goal of a GOAT list is to hide your heart and show your head. Show how smart you are. Show how much you understand hip-hop history and how much you understand how much you love the culture, right? But it was so biased. It was so head heavy. It was so light on heart, Okay, so Nas wasn't there, but beyond that, it was just super New York biased, no one from the South, no female rappers. I think I wrote it down. I had Kendrick and Eminem tied at 5 as my non-New Yorkers. I had Rakim at number 4, who I loved. I love Rakim. I've the first rhymes I ever memorized was "I ain't no joke," right? And so I really do have a love of Rakim. But come on, Skye, he's not one of your top 5. That's a head pick, not a heart pick. Then I had Biggie. Come on, Skye, that's a head pick. That's not a heart pick. Ghostface Killah and Jay-Z as my number 1 GOAT. And so this is a fine list, okay? A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't. I did my first ever live premiere. I was driving somewhere in Maryland with my cousins to go to a swimming hole when that premiered. That was fun. But last year, speaking of last year on the Maverick Carter Show, Tyler, the Creator, who you see back there, I got the vinyl for Don't Tap on the Glass. I was like, I should really order the test pressing. I shouldn't have ordered the test pressing. You can't take the vinyl out of the slipcase. It's almost impossible. You have to wrestle with it like it's an angry bear who wants his honey. And it doesn't have any of the talk box sounds. It doesn't have the make you want to jump sample. And it has an extra song, which is cool. But I don't think they mixed the extra song. I think they just threw it on there. Anyways, I've been thinking a lot about Tyler, who I really respect. And I quoted this in my last video about Boldy James and Freddie Gibbs. But I really want to take some time to appreciate what Tyler said. Now, this did create some discourse at the time on, rap Twitter or rap discussions. This is what he said. I don't care about people's objective top nothing. Tell me what is your favorite. Because you learn so much from people and get context. I want to know why you think Pookie-Dookie's second album is your favorite. Quote, I had memories attached to it. My brother did this and that on track 7. He talks about this. I found out I was going through it. I want to hear that. I don't care about no objective top. You're asking people for their thoughts on what you hold to your heart. What kind of stupid ish is that? I did not mean to do a thumbs up. I cannot stop OBS from doing this crazy stuff, okay? I don't like it when you do that, OBS. I don't like it at all. They're not doing that. They're supposed to do this thingy. Yeah. I don't like it when you do that, OBS. Okay. What kind of stupid ish is that? That's why I effing hate rap Twitter, where apparently I'm a music reviewer. Everything is performative. Everyone is making these lists just to have people engage. Who gives a F who the top 3 is? So that's why I want to ask you, and I want you to give me your Pookie-Dookie list. Now, Tyler made up the name Pookie-Dookie. He came up with some fake rapper who sounds kind of silly, probably sounds like some maybe forgettable mumble trap rapper. And that's why he came up with the term Pookie-Dookie. But I want to call it that. I want us, if I have any ability to cause any sort of lexical influence, I did popularize the term Gorn, the greatest of right now. That's not the same question as the greatest of all time. Let's get this Pookie-Dookie off the ground. If you're watching this and you don't have a platform, you tell me in the comments. Who are your top 5 favorite? All heart. No brain. All heart. I just want your heart. Don't be cool. All right? If the answer is someone and you don't think it's that cool, just let it be, man. Lady, NB, just let it be. That's okay. If you look at it and you really think about it and your number 1 favorite MC really is Cardi B and you don't think it should be, just say Cardi B. It's okay. It's your Pookie-Dookie. Now, it's a little bit tricky for me because I'm an old fool from the old school. I've got a lot of groups, so my favorite albums growing up were Public Enemy and De La Soul, and there's not like any one particular who's going to jump out of there. I really love Onyx, but it's not like... If Onyx were one rapper, they would be on this list, but I can't choose between Fred Rostar and Sticky Fingers. I know there's a third, but he never ranks for me. Some people who almost made it onto the list, Busta Rhymes really came close. Busta Rhymes was so important to me. The first time I heard Rah Rah like a Dungeon Dragon, it changed my life. The first time I heard Woo-Ha, got you all in check. The first time I heard a rapper make reference to Han Solo, I was like, a rapper's talking about Star Wars. I couldn't believe it. It was unheard of at the time, Unfortunately, Busta Rhymes' albums were usually not great. Like his singles were great, but his albums weren't great, with the exception of the Flip Mode project. Man, I love that project. My number 1 Pookie-Dookie is Rampage. Rakim, he's not on the list anymore. He's not on the list anymore. He dropped off the GOAT list because he's not on my Pookie-Dookie list, even though I love him and he was really revolutionary. But what I want to do is I want to tell you my list. I want to give you my Pookie-Dookies, and I want to give you an alternate for each one, which isn't necessarily like my other 5th best, but someone who's in a similar lane. Because what I've realized in doing this is that, like, what does Justin Hunt call it? Living life through the lens of hip hop. As I look at my life and I think of these distinct phases. When I was a child, I loved kind of goofy hip-hop, and then as I became a middle schooler, I got more into aggressive hip-hop, and then as I got into high school, I started getting into hip-hop history while also enjoying a little bit more kind of underground stuff, and then I made it to college, and that's where I understood that popular rap could be okay, mainstream rap could be okay, and then I hit my mid-20s, and I basically shut myself off from the force. I just was out there on a little octo, not paying any attention to anything, only listening to maybe Kanye and a little bit of stuff associated with it. And then I started this channel, and it's everything all the time. And so each of these artists, they aren't just important to me musically, they're important to me spiritually. And that's what I think Tyler's trying to get to. It's a spiritual thing. Music is a spiritual thing. It's a head thing, and you're watching me because I'm a professor of French. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show hosted by a French professor who's not talking about new music, who is being positive, who is happy that the cicadas are not out because it's a little bit rainy right now, so it's a very nice atmosphere out here. But number 5 makes the transfer from the GOAT list, and that's going to be Ghostface Killah. So for each of them, I'm going to tell you my favorite album. Supreme Clientele is my favorite album. It's close between this and Iron Man, very close. I just re-listened to both yesterday, and I don't know. The streaming version of Iron Man doesn't have Winter Wars, which is Frankly, I think whoever decided that should be at the Hague. That's a crime. The thing about Ghostface is that he represents a lot of the kind of Wu-Tang energy for me, but like when I realized that he was special, it was an amazing moment because when I was into Wu-Tang, I got into them in college. Like, obviously, Method Man jumped out to me, ODB stood out to me, Risha stood out to me, but the rest of them sort of blended together. And it wasn't like I couldn't tell the difference between them, but like I didn't know their voices immediately. And so the fun thing about Ghostface was as time went on, I started to be able to distinguish Raekwon and Ghostface. And if you're an old school head and you're saying, Skye, you couldn't tell? No, I couldn't. I was 17, I was 18 years old, all right? It was harder than you think back then, before the internet, okay? One of my favorite moments was I used to make mixtapes with my friends. We'd go to Canada and like we'd make mixtapes for each other for the drive. And my friend Brad and I were huge Wu-Tang fans, and we always put at least one Wu-Tang song per mix, like this we had to. And there's always kind of like which song are they going to pick? And I remember one year my man Brad put on MGM. And I remember thinking, what are you doing, Brad? Like the rest of the album's out here. Why did you pick that? As high as Wu-Tang gets is still out there. Why are you picking MGM Grand? And I understood it. Like I understood that feeling and that back and forth. And at the time I didn't know which one was Ghost and which one was Ray, because that's how it used to be back then. But then this album came out. I bought it the day it came out. It came with a little free poster, which I've since lost, and this was it. This is where I understood. It was like a secret little surprise. I was able to go backwards and realize all of these lyrics that I've loved, this whole approach that I've loved, this idiosyncratic bizarreness, this stretching of the English language to its absolute furthest extent, this crash poetry. Okay, it's not slam poetry, it's crash poetry. It's just like everything's just all messed up and all super screwed up and just crazy and out there. So that's why he's one of my Pookie-Dookies. I think he's a GOAT. My head says he's one of the best of all time. I don't think he's top 5 in the GOAT conversation, not realistically. But if we're counting my heart, if we're counting my Pookie-Dookie, then it counts. As far as the also-rans in this category, I was this close to putting on Old Dirty Bastard instead of Ghostface. Because Old Dirty Bastard has 2 perfect solo albums, 2 10 out of 10 solo albums that are completely different. He has brought me so much joy. That's the thing. All these people I'm talking about brought me so much joy. I almost put Missy here at number 5 because she's brought so much joy to me, and she brought so much, and she helped really change a lot of things. But we'll talk about her later. But like, I almost put Old Dirty Bastard, and I almost put Capadonna, because in that period of time, the artist I was most excited to hear from was Capadonna. Back in those days, and if you're an old-time Wu-Tang fan, maybe you know what I mean, he was on a run. In my opinion, Capadonna's verse on Winter Wars is the best verse on any Wu-Tang Clan project. Peekaboo! I said that, and I stand on it. Yeah, I'm including I Bomb Atomically. Okay, I'm including that. I'm including everything. I'm including every single Ghostface verse. I'm including we eat fish, toss salads, and make rap ballads. I'm saying put that ting up on the ting back on the shelf. Don't have to worry. I'm saying that. Anyways, but no, Ghostface in terms of his whole career. All right, so that's number 5. Number 4 is the person who I said was the GOAT, Jay-Z. But realistically, in my life, as much what did Jay-Z do for me? What Jay-Z did for me was I was there. I was at the one of the dining halls of Wheaton College in Massachusetts, where I went to school, and I had heard the song "Hard Knock Life" a couple times on the radio and kind of thought it was pop trash. But I heard it one more time. I must have just gone to maybe the Omelet Bar. No. Who am I kidding? I just ate Fruit Loops. I ate Fruit Loops almost every meal that year of college. I was probably getting some Fruit Loops, and I heard the song, and I was like, oh, this is good. And so I went and I bought Volume 2 on tape, and I listened to it. And all of a sudden, what I realized was that I'd spent all of kind of high school like listening to underground rap radio and getting kind of snobby and sort of in that realm. And then finally, I heard this and it unlocked everything for me. After that, I was like, okay, I think I understand this. And I started listening more to pop radio. I started listening more to Jammin' 94.5. That's how, when I heard Big Pun, I was able to get over the fact that it was a big radio single, and I was able to listen to the lyrics. Like, he was the person that helped me understand that underground doesn't mean good and mainstream doesn't mean bad. And obviously, he has just the absolute most amazing wordplay, most amazing flow when he was at his peak, which was an amazingly long peak. It was like the Beatles. It was like the Beatles. If Jay-Z is going to release something, it is going to be the fucking best. There was a period of time, I guess, before Magna Carta, Holy Grail, right, where you just knew that was going to be the case. And in my opinion, this is my favorite album. Reasonable doubt. Get the fuck. This is my Pookie-Dookie. This album shits on reasonable doubt in my Pookie-Dookie world. You damn straight it does. All died. You know? Every single song on here. Snoopy track. Come on. All right? This is my Pookie-Dookie. I understand in an intellectual way. If I'm to be a rap scholar, if I'm indeed to be the coordinator of a hip-hop minor at my university, I must teach my students 22 twos and the evils. I know that. But what do I want to put on? I want to put on Big Pimpin'. I want to put on S. Carter, You Must Try Harder. Okay, I'm going to skip the things that you do. I skip that song every time. All right, so there you go. Right off the bat, my GOAT list. I have 2 members of the GOAT list on my Pookie-Dookie, but they're low. They're low. And that's very much on purpose. Number 3, my third favorite MC of all time is somebody I never heard before I started this channel. It's Mach-Hommy. Remember that thing I just said, the excitement about the Beatles coming out with an album? Now, okay, Mach-Hommy's not the Beatles. Mach-Hommy releases too much stuff to be like that because he has a lot of dump god projects that are like not as good as his full albums. But everything that I love about what Ghostface does, he's able to do, but in a way that's maybe just one extra layer of smart, one extra layer of sort of history and being able to tie it into the things that I teach and tie it into the things that I study. And I love his voice. I love his mystery. I love his approach. I love the Creole-ness, the occasional Frenchness of it, obviously. And it's a symbol of this channel. It's a symbol of what this channel did to me. I first heard of Mach-Hommy in my comment section with people saying, Skye, you should review Pray for Haiti. I was like, what's Pray for Haiti? What is Mach-Hommy? What is this? Like, I'd never even heard of this person. And that's what the channel brings me. I'd started this channel because I said when you hit your mid-20s and you decide that new music is bad, part of you dies. It's death. It's mid-20s music death. And so when I hit 40, I started this channel, and then all of a sudden I have all these things being brought back into my life, and there's a vibrancy, and there's a life, and there's a don't tap the glass. There's a me dancing around in the kitchen to don't tap the glass instead of me dancing around the kitchen to S. Carter, You Must Try Harder. Now, they're both great songs, but I get to dance with my children. I get to feel like I'm a part of this actual civilization that's still going on. The human civilization is not passed me by. I don't have to get rid of the old school. I can be a new fool. So anyways, Mach-Hommy is number 3 on my Pookie-Dookie list. Number two, also tied into this channel. Oh, yes. My also ran for number 4 would have been Biggie, you know, like he filled a similar niche. I just never really connected personally to Biggie in this similar way. My also ran for Mach-Hommy is Billy Woods because, like, I love his music and he came through this channel. And, like, the fact that when Billy Woods and Mach-Hommy release a project, there are, and I'm just gonna say the sentence because I can't believe it and I'm so thankful. There are thousands of people who care what I have to say. Did I tell you that Raekwon, the chef's publicist sent me an email asking how much will it cost to review his album. Do you understand what kind of through the looking glass existence I live, where the guy who made Only Bill for Cuban Links is trying to pay me to talk about his music, when back then my friends tried to pay me to get me to shut the fuck up about it? Yes, Skye, we get it. You like the incarcerated Scarface's beat. No, you don't. You don't get it. So anyways, yeah, so I would say, Billy Woods fills a similar sort of itch, but anyway, okay. So now on to my number two. My number two, maybe it's surprising, maybe it's not. It's going to be Kendrick. And that's because of this last year and everything this last year has brought me and the joy that I've had. Kendrick's an interesting figure in my life musically because I stopped listening to new music except for Kanye. And when I saw Kanye in Toronto, Kendrick opened. So I went on to LimeWire and I downloaded a few songs off of Good Kid, Mad City, including Backseat Freestyle. And that was where I said, oh, okay. Maybe there is good rap being made now, because I really enjoyed that. And I loved watching him in concert. So I then bought To Pimp a Butterfly the week it came out. So like he's got sort of like wrapped in. So even though I was dead to new music, I somehow had this access. And I apologize for the nasalness of my voice. I'm getting over COVID. If you didn't see my last video, I got COVID in Toronto. Chubbs, I was at the Tyler the Creator concert, and Chubbs, Drake's bodyguard, wearing a huge OVO vest, walks up to me and goes, "You're Professor Skye, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's for the boy." And then he walks away. It was right there. It was on the Jumbotron if you were there on the Thursday night show. It was a terrible thing. So anyways, I got COVID. My whole family got COVID. I apologize for my nose. Chubbs gave me COVID. But like, I already understood in my head that he was one of the best. And I had a little bit of heart. But this last year, as I've been studying and obsessing over his work and going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, he was somebody who simultaneously helped me during my dead time to enjoy music, while when I came back being this great source of connection and community. Because this larger hip-hop community that I have managed to participate in is largely through Kendrick. It's not through hating Drake. It's through loving Kendrick. It's not enough to hate Drake, okay? If I was just good at hating Drake, no one would care about me. You have to be just as good at loving Kendrick, okay? Sorry, they're also doing some street sweeping on my street, so I don't know about that. And what's my favorite Kendrick album? Suck it, everybody. Pookie-Dookie. GNX is my favorite Kendrick album. I know. Good Kid, Mad City is technically a more successful album than To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn. And the man does not have a bad discography. But if I have to keep it all the way, if I have to keep it 10 toes down, if I have to keep it 100, any kind of unit of 10, if I have to keep 1,000 millipede feet on the ground, and I have to be totally standing tall and telling you all the truth, GNX is my favorite album. I've spent the most time with it. I've listened to it the most. I've studied it the most. I've enjoyed it the most. I've danced to it the most. I went to the concert to it the most. I don't care if it's recency bias. This album is fun, deep, smart, awesome, everything you love about Kendrick Lamar, and it's his last album. Most recent album. Sorry, my 17-year-old is dancing behind the camera. I don't understand what the joke is there. Yes. Hi. She's holding up the 3-year-old. They're dancing up and down. I guess the COVID's getting better. So yeah. Also rans in this category. I got to say Tyler's up there as an also ran. He's not close to being my second favorite MC, but he is fulfilling a similar role in my revival of music and my connection and my belief in the future. Also, Pusha T, because I also downloaded some Pusha T back in those days. I remember I downloaded off of LimeWire most of whatever the album was, My Name Is My Name, and I loved it. So that leads to number one, and I've been talking a lot about, that time where music was dead and how Kanye just pulled me through. And so it won't be any surprise to anybody that my number one, my Pookie-Dookie, my favorite MC of all time is Biz Markie. It's not Kanye. If Kanye were on a rap album that he didn't produce, I don't even think I would listen to it. He is not an MC I particularly enjoy. He is my favorite hip-hop artist of all time, all-encompassing. He is probably my favorite producer, but favorite MC? He is not in my Pookie-Dookie top 100. I don't think he is. All right? But it's Biz Markie. Biz Markie, and this is why I want to make this whole video. I talk a lot about how much I love Biz Markie, and it's a pain in the ass because, okay. Just from like a heart standpoint, it's pretty inconvertible, you know. But like a head standpoint, he released 4 albums in a row that are just all of the masterpieces. Going Off, old school masterpiece. The Diabolical Biz Markie with his biggest hit. Perfection in his style, loose and fun and goofy. I Need a Haircut, a continuation of the last one, and then All Samples Cleared, his move into the 90s. Those 4 albums are all absolutely perfect hip-hop albums. You cannot stream a single one of them. It's like De La Soul used to be. De La Soul had a perfect 4-album run to start off their career. You couldn't find those. There's some kind of copyright thing going on, so I'm sorry. The only thing you can find is Biz's Baddest Beats. By the way, you can tell how much I love Biz Markie by how scuffed up all my CDs are, okay? But Biz's Baddest Beats is way too heavy on the early stuff and doesn't have enough of the old stuff and doesn't have what is my favorite Biz Markie album. My favorite Biz Markie album is I Need a Haircut. The album where track 12 is a song called Alone Again, which included a sample of Gilbert O'Sullivan's Alone Again, which he sued them, and that's the reason why hip-hop is not as good with samples anymore, because of that lawsuit. I have CDs of both. This is the version with only without the song Alone Again, and this is my version with it. I don't even have the cover anymore, but you see right there, number 12, Alone Again. Alone Again into On and On is my favorite segue, my favorite 2-song connection in any rap album. The way those songs are connected. Biz Markie did everything for me. When I was a little kid, I mainly liked rap to be goofy. I mainly liked the Fat Boys. So my brother played for me Pickin' Boogers by Biz Markie off of Going Off. And it was like the Fat Boys in the way that it was silly and funny and kind of gross. But then I heard more of this album and I realized I liked it more. And there was Albee Square Mall. My brother went to college in Brooklyn, went to Pratt, and then he took me to the Albee Square Mall, which is it's a place that no longer exists, but Biz Markie has a song called Albee Square Mall, I go to the Albee Square Mall. And like my whole youth, looking up to my older brother and him loving Biz Markie and me loving Biz Markie, and it's the humor. He's so funny, but he's also so good. He's so good at rapping. He's so good at DJing. He's so good at producing beats. He's so good at being this larger-than-life figure who then was even famous as a children's performer, right? I can show him now to my kids. Oh, it's time for Biz's Beat of the Day. He's a titan of American music. It's unbelievable all the stuff he was able to do, producing his own beats. After this album, he realized that's where all the money was, so he produced his own beats. And he's just so funny. And that entire time of the 90s, when I was in high school, and I was listening to rock, and I was in a rock band and all that, the one rap album, the one rapper I was always checking for, I was always listening to, that had the same amount of listening as anything else was always Biz Markie, and up through college and the same thing. And it's just time. It's just time that I just admit that he's my favorite MC. That's my Pookie-Dookie. That's my heart. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. Realistically, if I had to redo the GOAT list, Kendrick is the GOAT. I think he is, brain-wise, the greatest MC of all time. I think he passed Jay-Z in this last year, in my mind. I know I haven't said Nas. I'm sorry. I'm not a Nas guy. I respect Nas. Nas belongs on the GOAT list, but he's not on my Pookie-Dookie list, if that makes sense. So yeah. So that's Biz Markie. I was tempted, in that same lane, I would put Eazy-E. Even though I don't listen to Eazy-E now, when I was growing up, that was a huge gateway into what hip-hop was. The humor, the dark humor, the terrible humor of Eazy-E, the style of his voice, everything, that was what got me into this art form. Biz Markie and Eazy-E. Those were my real gateway. Yeah, I listened to Run DMC. Yeah, I listened to a ton of Public Enemy and a ton of De La Soul. Okay, sure. But really, as far as MCs go, I got to say that. So tell me, who's your Pookie-Dookie? You know? You tell me. You give me your list. This is my list. There you go. This is my Pookie-Dookie list. All right? So you tell me your Pookie-Dookie list. I'm going to stop this before it hits 30 minutes so more people watch it. Thank you for auditing. Smash the like button, subscribe, AVAA. This has been fun. Long live hip-hop. There's the camera.